In the final week of his life, Moe Howard, the last surviving member of the Three Stooges, finally spoke the truth about his brother, Curly. What he said was haunting. For decades, fans had wondered why Curly vanished from the spotlight at the height of his fame. Rumors swirled, but no one had real answers until Moe broke his silence. What he revealed about Curly and the dark reality behind the laughs shook even the most loyal fans. This wasn't just a brother saying goodbye, but a confession, a bad one. And it changes everything you thought you knew. Moe, Curly, and the glory days of Curly and the glory days the Three Stooges. The Three Stooges weren't just a comedy act, but an iconic big-screen powerhouse. And at the center of it all were three very different men. Moe Howard, Larry Fine, and Curly Howard. Moe was the leader, the enforcer with the bold haircut and sharp slaps. And Larry played the clueless middleman. But it was Curly, born Jerome Lester Horwitz, who truly captured hearts. His high-pitched voice, wild spins, and unpredictable timing made him the breakout star. But Curly wasn't the original choice. In 1932, when Moe's brother, SHMP Howard, left the act, Moe and Larry needed a replacement. Curly, Moe's younger brother, wasn't an obvious fit. He had no formal acting background and wasn't taken seriously due to his soft-spoken nature and baby face. But he wanted the role badly. He even shaved his thick hair and mustache to look more comedic, and the change worked. The moment he stepped on stage, something clicked. Within months, Curly became the centerpiece of the act. Moe would later admit that Curly was a natural. He rarely needed direction or rehearsal. Most of his famous routines, like barking like a dog, spinning in circles, or the unforgettable, weren't scripted. They came from pure instinct. Directors learned to let the camera roll and just follow Curly. His unpredictability made every scene feel alive. But Moe also saw what audiences couldn't. Off camera, his brother was a different person. He was shy, quiet, and deeply insecure. He hated being in the spotlight when the cameras weren't rolling. Crowds made him nervous, and interviews drained him. Fame had found him, but he didn't seem to want it. Moe described Curly as a gentle soul trapped in a tough business. He wasn't built for Hollywood. While others enjoyed the attention, Curly often disappeared after filming. He gave generously to fans and crew, but rarely opened up to anyone. He had trouble with relationships and bounced between short-lived marriages. Moe, as both his brother and co-star, watched it all from close range. As their success grew, so did the pressure. The demand for new shorts meant grueling filming schedules, and the jokes were physical hard-falls and exhausting routines performed over and over. Curly didn't complain, but Moe started noticing things. He'd miss cues. He'd forget lines he normally improvised with ease. His once instant reactions began slowing down, and his weight fluctuated. At first, everyone blamed the stress. But Moe knew better. He said the spark in Curly's eyes was starting to dim even when the crowd roared with laughter. There were moments when Curly would walk off set, not in anger, but as if he didn't remember where he was supposed to be. In later interviews, Moe said it was around this time he realized Curly wasn't just tired, but that something was wrong. But the show couldn't stop. They had contracts to fulfill and an audience to entertain. Moe tried to protect his brother without drawing attention to the decline. Looking back, he would describe those years with quiet regret. He gave everything he had on camera, Moe said, and had nothing left for himself. Even as the world laughed at Curly's antics, the man behind the laughs was starting to fade. Moe saw the signs early, but no one, and certainly not the fans, understood just how much pain was hiding behind those spinning routines and silly sounds. The warning signs were there, and Moe never forgot them. When the laughter hid the pain, by the early 1940s, the Three Stooges were at the peak of their fame. But behind the scenes, something was changing. Curly was only in his late 30s, but he moved like a man twice his age. He had developed high blood pressure and was gaining weight at an alarming rate. Once known for his sharp, spontaneous reactions, Curly now seemed to struggle just to get through a scene. The changes were slow at first. He'd forget a line here or there. He'd need a few extra takes. But by 1942, the cracks were harder to ignore. Moe would later say that during breaks between takes, Curly often looked dazed or disoriented. He'd sit silently in his chair, sweating heavily as if every scene had drained him completely. He had always kept to himself off camera, but now he seemed physically and mentally distant, almost vacant. It wasn't just fatigue. He was losing control of his body. On set, there were new problems. Curly's speech began to slur. His stunts became slower and less sharp. In certain scenes, Moe and the crew had to position him carefully just to make sure he could stand upright and deliver his lines. Still, he refused to complain. Moe said Curly felt an obligation to his fans, to the studio, and especially to Moe and Larry. Privately, Moe knew his brother's health was failing. The signs pointed to something far worse than exhaustion. Years later, Moe revealed that Curly was already showing signs of many strokes. His hands would shake and his mouth would tighten strangely mid-sentence. And yet, the studio kept the cameras rolling. Columbia Pictures was under pressure to keep producing content. The war years had increased demand for light-hearted entertainment, and the Stooges were a reliable draw. Even when it was clear Curly was unwell, there was no talk of stopping production. Contracts had to be honored and money had to be made. Despite everything, Curly kept pushing. He appeared in over 90 shorts during his time with the Stooges, with the bulk of them filmed during the years his health was in steep decline. His final years with the group, especially between 1944 and 1946, were particularly grueling. The quality of his performances had dipped, but many fans still didn't notice. The camera hid what was really going on. Moe, however, couldn't forget. He carried the guilt of watching his brother deteriorate while keeping the show moving. In later years, he said that Curly gave what was left of himself to those final performances, not because he wanted to, but because he felt he had to. The fans were still laughing. But for Moe and those close to the set, the comedy had started to feel more like tragedy. Behind every slap, every spin was a man slowly dying in silence. The stroke that ended everything. By 1946, Curly Howard's health was in free fall. The signs had been there for years, from the slurred speech, forgetfulness, shaking hands, but no one imagined how suddenly everything would come to a halt. On May 6, 1946, during the filming of Holiday, the unthinkable happened. Curly Howard collapsed on set due to a massive stroke. He was just 42 years old. Moe Howard was there that day. In interviews years later, he described it as the real death of Curly was not physical, but spiritual. The Curly the world loved, the man who spun like a top, barked like a dog, and made people laugh just by walking into frame, was gone. Moe said his brother lost his spark in an instant. The stroke left Curly partially paralyzed and unable to speak properly. His coordination was destroyed and he struggled with emotional instability. For a man who had built his career on physical comedy, the irony was cruel. He could barely walk, much less perform. He had no choice but to leave the Stooges. His career and his identity was over.